In this video, I'll be demonstrating the working of for loop. Before I speak anything about for loop, let me first write a simple program using which I'll be demonstrating why you require loop, how to write a for loop and how it works internally. So to begin with, I have a simple skeletal structure of my program. In this program, all I want is to print something on my screen. Maybe I want to print hello. How will you do it? We all know to print something on the screen, we will now be using this statement called as system.out.println, and inside which I will now pass hello. If you write a program like this, of course, when you execute on my screen, I will now be getting hello. Now, if I now ask you to modify this program and print hello 5 times, yes, some people what they will do is they will now write the program like this. Of course, when you now execute this program on the screen, you will now be getting hello 5 times like this. However, if you now write a program like this, you will never be considered as a good programmer. Why? Because when you are writing a program, you should make it a habit that you should not repeat any code. What do you mean repeating of code if you ask me? If you closely watch in your program, you have now used the same statement 5 times. You have told system.out.println hello, system.out.println hello, and the same thing you have repeated 5 times. You as a programmer should never write such type of code. This type of repeating code itself is called as redundant code. You should never write code like this. Then what's the solution if you ask me? For that reason itself, the concept of loops in programming has come. There are different types of loops. However, in this video, I'll be speaking about the for loop. So, how the for loop works? How does it look? That's what I'll now be speaking. So, the syntax of the for loop will now look like this. Any repeating statement, say suppose any repeating statement, or else you can say that any statement that has to be repeated. The statement that needs to be repeated, you have to put it inside a for loop like this. And any for loop you write will be accepting 3 things. What are those if you ask me? The first one is called as the initial condition, after which you will also have to mention the final condition, after which you'll also have to tell whether to increment or decrement. Now, what are all these things? When I now write a simple program on for loop, you will understand. But as of now, this much you have to understand, that any statement you have to be repeated should now be enclosed within a loop. In my case, I'm using for loop. So whatever I have now written here is only the basic syntax of for loop. If I have to implement the same thing for my program, if you see what is the line that is been repeating in my case, it is system.out.println. So maybe I'll just write it once again here. I will tell system.out.println. This statement, I will now enclose it within my for loop. For this for loop, how many times I have to execute? It is the 5 times. So that is where the initial condition will come into place. So I now have to start from 1 and go to 5. So I will now tell int I is equals to 1. This is my initial condition. I'm telling int I equals to 1 means begin from 1. Followed by you will now have to give the final condition. What is final condition if you ask me? The condition should never go more than 5. So in my case, I will now tell I should not go more than 5. So in other words, I less than or equals to 5 is what I will write. From 1 to 5 I have to go. Each time, how many times I have to increment? If I have to go from 1 to 5, should I increment or decrement? Yes, I have to increment. So I will now tell I plus plus. which means increment the value of I by 1. So you can also decrement, but in our case we want it to increment, so hence I am telling it as I plus plus. If you now replace your following code with this piece of code, 100% you will now get the same output. But in this case, are you repeating the code? No, you have only written it once. So this is how you will be now writing the for loop. Let us quickly check how the output will now look.